And Lucas is going to come in here today, and he's going to share with us leadership lessons, attraction lessons. This man has, let's just put it this way. We were at a team leader boot camp together in 2010. His hair still looked amazing then. I actually had hair back then. And we kind of grew, if you will, through the Keller system. And Lucas continued to go on to become a regional director. So he's helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in the leadership space. He's been around recruiting thousands of people. And so I asked him to jump on here because I know all of you are in the leadership space, all of you are in the growth space, and he has amazing message to share. So Lucas, my friend, thank you for being here. Welcome to the I Love Coaching Tribe call. And these are some of our tribe members. So the floor is yours, my friend. Guys, what we're going to do is Lucas is going to coach us up for probably 30 plus minutes, and we're going to open it up for some Q&A. So get your questions ready, write down some ahas, and be ready. So Lucas, thank you again for being here. The floor is yours, my friend.
Rich, Adam. Thank you. And it's been fun because I remember sitting there as a very scared new team leader, sitting next to Adam, and I remember my OP was a new OP. He had achieved a lot in his world, and neither one of us had any clue of how to do anything. Ever been there? It's like, how many of you know how to do a Zoom? Let me see your hands.
Yep.
Okay, that was a layup question. It's like, how many of you know how to speak Russian? Okay, so you know that you know how to do a Zoom call, and you know that you don't know how to speak Russian, yes?
Correct.
What kills you is when you don't know what you don't know.
Mm.
So you don't know how to speak Russian, but there's a lot of stuff you don't know that you don't even know. And when you become a new team leader in the KW system, you become very aware of the fact that maybe your team leader made it look a lot easier than it really is. Because the truth is, as a team leader, what I learned is you're paid a lot of money to be rejected an awful lot. And sometimes my need to be accepted got in my way to mastering the role as a team leader. Let me say that again. Sometimes my need for you to like me and accept me got in my way of being effective as a team leader. So I remember sitting there with Adam in that room. I think Bruce Kink was in that room. There was a lot of us old farts in that room. And like, what the heck are we doing? And Bev Steiner's trying her best. And then she'd want us to role play. I'm like, role playing scared the bejeebers out of me. It's like, oh my gosh, this isn't my language. And then I have this aha. Well, of course it's not my language because I stink as a team leader, and this is the language of successful team leaders. And so I'm speaking stinky team leaders, and I'm not speaking successful team leader language. Yes. Mm-hmm. Here's the biggest lesson I learned. I was a team leader for 7 years. I'm still an OP. I have been in the top 10 in recruiting KW 2 times. I've won 4 black belts. Congratulations, Barbie. That will open up doors for you. I have been the OP 2 times of the #1 net recruiting office in the world. This is what I've learned in all that nonsense. I've got, and by the way, when you get into the Team Leader Hall of Fame, you get a plate that you could barely see on a Zoom. All 4 of my black belts are sitting there on that second shelf. I'm sure you're all really impressed because they don't mean crap today. What does stick with you is this, write this down. It's who you become in the journey. Do you become somebody who could press through your need to be accepted? Oh, I like this, Ross. What is that? I can't see what you just said. I thought you were putting up your black belt team leader award. So
it says what you get by reaching your goals is not nearly as important as what you become by reaching them.
That's it. Because here's the thing, Ross. KW, I'm not saying they are, but Keller Williams, the company I'm with, could go away tomorrow.
Yep.
All my results could go away tomorrow. Yep. All the people that I recruited and all the wealth that we built together, but they can never take away who I became in the journey. Does that make sense? So who are you in that moment when you don't feel like doing the activities? Who are you in that moment when you are like you've just got your tail kicked in? Who are you? The journey I want to encourage this group to be is, remember, it's not just about hitting the goal. Hitting the goal reveals who you are. Diana Kokoska used to say this all the time. You don't get what you want, you get who you are in life. So write this down. I just heard somebody say this a couple of days ago, and it's brilliant. It's a Tony Robbins thing. Is state, my state, mental and emotional state leads to my story that leads to my strategy. Wouldn't it be great if those of you who are paid to recruit, or those of you who are paid to coach others to recruit, because it's a different beast. When you are a team leader of a Keller Williams office moving to an OP, that is a different conversation, because as an OP, I knew I could probably recruit better than the person I just hired. I can't teach them, 1,000 different seminars of how Lucas Sherraden did. I have to extract the wisdom and the gold and the treasure that's inside of them. I have to extract that out and help them get the results. And so far I've done all right, because I've had 2 team leaders win the #1 recruiter in the world by extracting it out of them. It's who we become in the journey. And so how do I transition my role from being a chaser to the chased? How do I transition my role as a leader from being somebody who is lead generating, which we're always going to lead generate. In fact, I'm lead generating right now. We're always lead generating, to a lead receiving. State leads to story that leads to strategy. This is my contention, Adam, and this is my challenge, is I think most of what we do is we teach strategy. The problem is strategy is not the most important thing. So think about this as this example. I just heard a friend of mine use this as an illustration. Pretend he was actually coaching an agent that was struggling to hit her goal of taking 10 listings in a month. Anybody ever coach that agent? They're struggling with it. So he said, okay, let's just do this. Strategy, we know how to do that. You could go out and contact 100 people a week, or 1,000 dial days, or whatever. I could take a donkey and put a placard on either side of his, says, follow me to list your house. We could have all sorts of strategy, right? Said, this is what I'm going to do. You have a daughter, and he was coaching this gal. You have a daughter, yeah? Yeah, awesome, great. Let's pretend, this is morbid, but just stay with me. Let's pretend your daughter gets a bad report from the doctor and she's terminally ill. I want you to feel that. And so he's seeing it connecting, this coaching person got into it. Said, and let's say you find the one doctor on the entire planet that can help her and make sure that she's healthy and whole. Yeah, you found that doctor. You go to that doctor, the doctor says, I could fix your child, but I don't take cash, I don't take credit, and I don't take insurance. The only payment that I will take is in the next 30 days, you give me 10 signed listing agreements. What are you going to do? Now think about this. As a mom, I've got 4 kids, been married for 30 plus years. As a mom, there is something about mama bear coming out, right? Yes, yes, yes. Never mess with a mama in between her and her cubs. I mean, you just don't do that, right? I'll take on Gary Keller legally before I'll begin between a mama and her baby bear, right? So as a mom, what state does that immediately put you in? Well, dang it, I'm committed. I'll give my own life for my child. I'm all in. Okay, so what story are you creating now around taking 10 listings? I'll do whatever it takes. I'll list my own house. I'll go to my neighbors in tears on my knees, begging them to list their house. If that's the only, awesome, interesting. Does it make a difference what strategy you use? Because you're in the right state and you make up the right story to get it done. What do you think? I think we have coaches on this call, right, Adam? So as a coach, I would be more concerned about stories people are saying around their goals and the state that they're in to tell the story to get to the strategy. Because here's the thing, I don't have to be really good. If you put my kids' lives on the line, I could suck at every script, I could suck at every strategy, but I'm going to get it done if you put my kids' life on the line. So maybe as coaches, we could help people become who they need to be so they hit all their goals and tell whatever story in their head about the goals. So if I told most team leaders that for the next 12 months, you're going to net 2 cappers every single month, you're going to net 2, right? Many team leaders are going to go, oh, crud, that's impossible. Nobody else is doing that. They're going to tell themselves a story and they're going to put themselves in a state like, well, that's really good for Lucas to have that goal, but I'm not going to do that. But get this, I did it as a team leader 2 years in a row. You know why? Because somebody showed me my financial outcome to that one thing was going to be this. And when I did this, I would get that kind of money. And I was all in for that kind of money because I was deeply in debt when Adam Roach met me first time. I did my net worth sheet about the time Adam met me. And my net worth sheet that time was a negative $100,000. So I was literally worthless. By the way, by doing one thing, by netting 2 cappers a month, netting, not grossing, netting 2 cappers a month for 24 months, became a millionaire doing that one thing. changed my family's trajectory forever. And you're never going to take that away. I could lose all my money. You'll never take away who I became with that journey, because I became a kind of person that was impeccable to my own word. Here's what happens when you set a goal and you don't hit it. You're not in integrity with what you said you were going to do. I'm going to become impeccable to my word. If I say I'm going to do 2, I do 2. If I can say I'm going to gross 10, I'm going to gross 10. If I say I'm going to increase owner profit by 10%, I'm going to do, because if I say it, I must do it. Otherwise, I'm out of integrity with my own word. And when we get out of integrity with our own word, guess what? We become unattractive. The world and the people you serve are desperately looking for authentic leadership, not political positions. Become the type of person you want your people to aspire to be. Let me take a breath. What are you thinking? Because I got more. I used to be a Baptist pastor for 20 years, so I could talk with the best of them, baby. What are you thinking?
I'm missing stuff because I'm writing everything down. I'm like, wait, he's saying something else I want to write down.
I talk at 100 miles an hour. I'm so sorry, Hannah, because I'm so grossly impatient. I just can't wait to get to the end of my sentence. So
It's being recorded, Hannah, so you can go back and watch it.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, Adam, will you hire a transcriber just to give us all these nuggets? That help me out.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thanks.
I wish I could talk at your pace, buddy, but I have tried to slow down, and it's just like if I slow down, I feel like I'm going to combust internally. So, man,
I like it.
So, guys, I am so passionate about what we do as leaders, because here's the thing. I wake up and I do affirmations every morning because, being transparent, I'm 30 seconds away from depression at any given time. I do affirmations not because I learned it at Bold. I do affirmations because I'm trying to manage me. I wake up every day, and this is my favorite affirmation. I will alter the course of human history today. You know why I'm on this call? I'm believing at least one of you all will go away from this and say, oh my gosh, that one call changed everything for the rest of my life. And if I don't accomplish that, I'm going to get better and get more effective, because that's the goal. It's not that we recruit a truckload of people. It's not that we make millions of dollars. It's that we transform the world. And I'm fired up about that. So the first thing is, who must I become in order to have blank? Describe that person. What state is that person in? I'm a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan. I have been all my life. This weekend, I'm going to fly to Kansas City. I'm going to have my hiney in Arrowhead and watching football. I'm a big KU Jayhawk basketball fan, Adam. So it's like, I love sports, but here's the thing about sports. If I go there and they are in a state like this, I know the game's lost. You'll watch every athlete before any game will put themselves into state. And the difference between professionals and amateur athletes is the capacity that they are able to get themselves back into state after they get their teeth kicked in. That's a big distinction between amateurs have something go wrong and they're in a bad state the rest of the game. Professionals have something go wrong and they fire up and they get back into state. Yeah. Are we professionals or are we amateurs? Are we coaching our people to be professionals, or are we allowing them to be amateurs? Amateurs throw pity parties. Professionals figure out how to get it better. Let's be pros at this. So who must I become? Describe that person. Have your people to describe that person. How do they handle adversity? How do they handle a setback? How do they handle getting their teeth kicked in? Because part of greatness, the journey to greatness, is a series of setbacks and failings and failures. And there's a lot of self-talk about, gosh, I'm the failure. I didn't just have there's a personal aspect. So it's a series of that. Who do I have to become, and who do my people have to become? And how do I effectively use language to help them create that reality? That's coaching. Yeah. Number 2 is, who do people say that I really am? When I'm not listening, what is the feedback loop showing up? I don't live my life for the opinions of others, but when other people are talking about Lucas Sherraden offline, what are they really saying? How do I show up? And what will I do with that feedback? You know what I do with that feedback, Jenny? This is what I do, Jenny. If I have somebody that says, you know, that Lucas Sherraden, he just talks too fast. He's just too hyper. He's all fluff and no stuff. You know what I tend to do? Well, what does Jenny know anyway? Geez, Jenny, you know, Jenny probably had a troubled childhood. And Jenny comes probably from an abusive home. And you know what? Jenny doesn't make as much money. Jenny's just, I'm picking on Jenny because I see her name on the screen. Jenny's probably a delightful human being. But nonetheless, I'm making up stories about Jenny because I'm trying to insulate my own sense of rejection. Does that make sense? Why don't we lean into our critics and say, this is where I could get better? I ran the growth initiative for Keller Williams International for a year. You want to know what happened, Adam? I'll tell you, this is behind the scenes story. So I pick up, John Davis leaves Keller Williams. Gary Keller calls me the next week, says, hey, I want to hire you to run the growth initiative for a year. Will you subcontract with me while I figure out who's going to be on the team and what have you? And of course, it's like, Gary, let me think about that. No, I said, yeah, I'll do that, right? It's like, so I get on my first call, and I've run several of the calls for John, right? And I'd done that. And so I get on my first call. I get it. I think I stick it. Like, I think I totally nail the call. And I get like a series of emails after that, but 2 emails came in back to back. You know what they were, Adam? Here it is.
What?
The first one was like, you know what? You are just nothing but John Davis reincarnate. You're the same jackass that can I say jackass on your team? You're the same jerk that he was. And my gosh, nothing's changing at Keller Williams. And within 2 seconds, 30 seconds of that email, I get another email that says, oh my gosh, I can't believe how disrespectful you were to John Davis and all the things that he's done for you. And you just totally disrespected him with that call. So on one call, I was too much like John Davis and too much not like John Davis. You know what? I leaned into that feedback. How do I get better? Don't get bitter, get better. Don't let it be a stumbling block. Let it be a stepping stone. Feedback is just feedback. Who do people say you are? Who do people say what do they say your value is? What do you want to be known for? My mission statement is really clear. I inspire passion within people to achieve their God-given destinies of greatness, and I create prosperity for every person I serve. Guess why I'm on this call? I want to inspire passion within you to achieve your God-given destinies of greatness, and I want to create prosperity for you. You get it? I'm really consistent. And if you say I'm anything other than that, I need to lean into that because my critic is going to be my friend. Get that? It's cool that you say, hey, man, that was such a great call. That's fantastic. And if you have that feedback, my email is lucas@place.com. If you have any other feedback, you can send it to Adam. But if you got that feedback, right, because I like good stuff, but the truth is my critic's going to help me because there's probably going to be a nugget of truth in that. The third thing is how to be integrous and consistent so that you're magnetic. I hit on it earlier. For me, there is a word in the English language that we have a lot of different definitions about, and it's the word integrity. And I was a Baptist pastor for 20 years. And so we put a moral value on the word integrity, yes? That integrity means honesty. And yes, by all means, don't hear me say that that's not what it means. It does mean that. Please be honest. But integrity also has another meaning because I always got confused about this. I grew up in Lawrence, Kansas. And a lot of the times we would go out on these little farm roads and gravel roads, right? And there was one time we came up to a gravel road and I was with a farmer driving a Ford pickup truck. And we came up to this bridge and he got off the road and he went actually through the creek and back up. I go, why don't we go over the bridge? The bridge right there. And he said this, I don't trust the integrity of that bridge to hold up the truck. Now, what does bridges and honesty have anything to do with each other? Nothing, because integrity doesn't just mean honesty. This is what integrity means, that you are doing what you were designed to do. That, here we go. Integrity comes from the Latin, that comes from the word integer. And integer means one. That means what I say, what I think, what I do are all one thing. That's integrity. So if I told Adam, I'm going to be on your Friday morning call and I didn't show up, I'm out of integrity with what I said. If I got on this call and we just shot the breeze about anything, I'm out of integrity with what I told Adam I would deliver. Think about this. When you set goals, you gave your word you were going to do something. When you do anything other than that, you're out of integrity with your own word. Here's what I've discovered. People who are in integrity with their own word and hit their own goals are attractors and are magnetic versus people who say a big game, but they don't live out their word. You guys get that? Makes sense? How do we effectively help people stay true to their word? We hold up mirrors. You said 10, you did 8. How's that looking on you right now? I know the story. I know the excuses. I know that you had a hard bringing up. I know you probably weren't breastfed long enough as a baby. I know that all sellers are bad and nobody's listing their house. Nobody's recruiting. I get all the stories, but you said 8. You said 10 and you did 8. Here's the mirror. I know you don't like what you see, but you need to look at that so you can make adjustments so you can get back into integrity, because when a person is in integrity, there are unlimited possibilities in front of them. When you're out of integrity, it's kind of like having a car that has its tires doing this. It's a scary way to drive. When we're in integrity with who we are, with what we say, life works. When we're out of integrity, it's tough, because then we're having to make up stories of why we failed and why we came up short. You with me? Let me ask you this. If you're a person of integrity, what do you think is going to impact your recruiting? You know what my biggest fear was, Adam, as a team leader? It wasn't that I wasn't going to recruit cappers. This was the biggest fear, is that I would recruit a capper in 30 days, they would leave our company because we didn't deliver on the promises that we gave them. Can I give you my best script to close a capper? Hey, Barbie, you want to play with me here, Barbie? Okay. Hey, Barbie, you know what? I got to stop this whole meeting because as you talk, you seem to fit the profile of the people when they make the move to our company, their life and their business explodes in a positive way. And please forgive me, my goal here is not that you ... join Keller Williams today ... My goal is that 5 years from now, you're coming back to me and saying this was the best business decision you've ever made in your entire life. So what world do I need to create to be able to get that started right now? Flips the conversation. And then my job is to be in integrity with whatever our agreements were. Do you know how you recruit cappers? By making your current cappers happy. You know how you recruit talent? By making your current talent raving fans, because you did everything you said you were going to do. Yeah. Okay. Let me take a breath. What are you thinking? Have you got anything yet today?
Yes, they have. I have no doubt.
And I know I talk fast. Sorry, Drew. I'm working on it, buddy. I've got caffeine going. You shouldn't put caffeine in front of me, man. You know, when mosquitoes bite me, they run out of my body, they hit the wall, you know, that type of thing. So what are your thoughts? What are your ahas?
Hey, Lucas, mine is definitely who do you need to become? I mean,
Hey, Drill, how you doing, buddy? I haven't seen you much ever, man.
You, man. I love the energy, man. I miss it. I miss it a lot, but this is awesome. But who do you need to become? I always love that. I was just speaking to one of my agents the other day. Wants, she's on the cusp of becoming an MREA, and she's like, "Who do I need to know? Who do I need?" And I went right back to this with her. It's not about you have all the right people in your world right now. It's who do you need to become, and I put something here, for myself. I won't share it, but for you to mention that. I had to look in the mirror at myself and say, who do I need to become? Because I get that way. I'm like, oh, my region is looking over me, or my ownership group is looking over me and this. And if I really look in the mirror, it's like, okay, but who are you? Who do you need to become so that they will not have any opportunity to look over you?
Yeah.
So that hit me, man. That hit me hard today.
And Terrell, here's what I was weaned on a culture of fear. Just being honest, at Keller Williams, I was weaned on a culture of fear. We did things for fear of threat. And at first I resented that. But here's what I've realized, that every person that comes across my path trail is a gift, because they're either a model or they're a warning. They're a model of who I want to be or a warning of who I choose not to be. So every person is a gift. And every leadership style is to my benefit. It's either a model or it's a warning. I have got more clarity around my life of who I choose to be because of the people I did not like working with or for. They were a gift to me. And I look back and just being honest, it's like, gosh, I was so disappointed. I got really royally screwed business wise. I mean, really bad in the last couple of years. Okay, I choose not to be that, and I'm thankful I'm not associated with that anymore. But everything's a gift, my friend. And so if you feel like your reach is looking at you, or you feel like your OP is on top of you, or you feel like there's an extrinsic pressure, lean into it and say, this is either a blessing because it's going to be a model, or it's a warning of how I'm not going to lead in the future. But right now I choose this. Yeah, buddy. I love that. What else are you? Yeah, thank you.
I agree with Terrell. I was thinking like, I love this common theme of becoming. I hadn't thought about having my own mission statement. And will you repeat yours? I love how passionate, like you are so passionate and so like fueled by that statement of
Hannah, where do you live? You live in like the part of the country where you guys, I love how you talk. I love it.
I live in North Carolina, in the mountains of North Carolina.
Mountains of North Carolina. So I lived in Lynchburg, Virginia for a while. So yeah.
You've
So
heard a little bit of this. Yeah.
my mission is I inspire passion within others to achieve their God-given destinies of greatness and to create prosperity for those I serve. There is a book, it's got a lot of Christian overtones to it, by Lori Beth Jones, called The Path. And it's actually a workbook. If the Christian overtones offend you, you stay away from the book. But it literally, like, you circle words and you work through it. Hannah, that statement took me, I think it was like 4 months working with the coach on a weekly basis to develop. And after I wrote it, it's like, I can put that on the back of the napkin. That's such a no-brainer, duh. This is what my aha I'm doing my own mission statement was.
Say the name of the book again, please.
The Path. Yeah.
Thank you.
This was my aha in doing that. I realized that every 2-year-old is a dancer. Very few 6-year-olds are, and very few 16-year-olds are, because somebody comes along in the world and say, you can't dance. And I think we all grow up with a mission inside of us, but the world stands ready to be crabs in a bucket to keep me in the bucket. And I have to unlearn that to get really clear on why I'm on this earth. But once you get real clear with it, it's like, well, duh, I knew that. I could have written that when I was 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But the world, at 55, the world is beat up enough, and I've got stories going on in my head about certain things. So I'd encourage you to get real clear on what you want and what you're moving toward, because I've spent my entire life moving away from things that I didn't want. I don't want to be in debt. I don't want pain. I don't want rejection. Well, what do I do want?
Yeah.
I want opportunities like this where I could talk to leaders that we're going to go out and change the world together. I would do it for free, Adam. I would do this call for free, not any other call, buddy.
I think about that often. I have a 1-year-old, and we've talked about this in one of our book clubs with Adam, but she's relentless and I'm not, because the society has taught me to not be relentless.
There you go.
She doesn't know not to be.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's exactly right. And this is how I grew up. Little boys are meant to be seen, not heard. Do you think I had to overcome some stuff? Because I was always talking. I had a special seat in 2nd grade right next to my teacher, because I spent most of my recesses in 1st and 2nd grade writing sentences on the chalkboard. I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class. And guess what I get paid to do for a living now? Talk in class. Yeah, we have to unlearn some of that programming.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah, you do you, my friend. You don't do Lucas. You don't do Adam. You do you. Because when you're in integrity with your God-given design, girl, the world, it is literally unlimited possibilities. So what you need to do is find your potential and remove anything that interferes, all interference and resistance to your potential. And you go do you, and don't worry about what the world says, because guess what? It doesn't matter.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, you betcha.
Well, some of the stuff that you've been saying kind of resonates with me from the standpoint of those fierce conversations that we all have to have. And I'm really bad at making up the story in my head about how that person is going to respond to me. So it goes into that, the fear of rejection, and then it'll just paralyze you. You don't want to have this conversation. And in several of those conversations, most of the time it doesn't go anything like what I thought it would go. And it usually is better. Like, I had to tell somebody this week, here I am in this massive recruiting, just need agents on my team in the worst way. And Adam and I came up with, what's an A+ player? And if they don't check those boxes, and she was dying to be on the team. She's like, I really want to be on your team. And there was this one box she just didn't check. And then when I had to tell her that, she took it so well. And I was so nervous about calling her. And I was just like, oh, she's going to be so upset. And no, it was fine. But some of this, what you're saying really resonates with me with respect to that kind of stuff.
I so love what you just said, because this is real talk. The worst recruiting appointments and the worst conflict and the worst conversations always have happened in my head, not in reality. They've had, I don't know about you, Lucas, go to your room, prepare for a spanking. That prepare for a spanking, my dad spanked, he's a dictator and a deacon. And so, but it was just like, that preparation for the spanking was far worse than the spanking. Just get it out of the way, right? I think I was conditioned that actually the hypothetical situations that I create in my head, because I could picture about 1,000 different things, is actually more suffering than the actual conflict, the actual confrontation, and the actual, I don't know how many times I talked myself out of picking up the phone and calling a recruit. Oh, they don't want to talk to me. They're this, they're that, they don't like me. They don't like dark-headed people. They think I talk too fast. Well, I don't care what a stupid story I create. I just didn't do it. And I created myself a lot of, that's why it's like, I'm really paying attention to my state right now. What state am I in? And what stories am I creating in my head that may not be completely true? And stay in curiosity before forming an opinion about anything. Because once I form an opinion, like, oh gosh, I can't call Jenny today. Gosh, she's going to think I'm a pest. Or I can't confront Hannah because she told me she's out of integrity with something. The moment I start creating those hypothetical things that I'm not even respecting Hannah enough to have the conversation with her, I'm having the conversation with her in my imagination. I've created and engineered my own suffering. Here's what I've learned in business. You engineer your stress or you engineer your success, your choice. Other thoughts?
Hey, how you doing, Lucas?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
You look like you're touched by an angel. You got that halo above your head.
Right.
This is looking quite heavenly. Hello, my name is Monica. I have a message from God.
I like the part when you said my critic is my friend.
Yeah.
Like with with your critics, because a lot of times you go against your critic, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's a little truth. Even when you're receiving constructive criticism, is sometimes I may have had a tendencies to say, oh yeah, I understand, but blow it off. Yeah. But I know that everybody has blind spots, and when you uncover your blind spots, that's typically when the greatness starts. So I like that part when you said that, because it's true.
That part, your greatest potential lays within your blind spots. It lays within the areas of your life you don't know that you don't know. And so here's what I would encourage us to do. While I listen to my exterior critics, I want to pay attention to my inner coach, not my inner critic. I have an inner critic that jabbers a lot. You suck, you talk too fast, you're too passionate, you're too excited, you're too depressed, you're too blah, 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 blah. The inner critic. Here's the thing. What I ask myself when I'm talking to myself that way is, would I ever talk to my child this way? And if the answer is no, how would I talk to my child about this issue? That's my inner coach. I would never, one of my daughters, my third child, is literally 2 rooms over. She's texting me, did you bring lunch today? Right now. I mean, this is real world stuff, right? I wouldn't, and she's on my team. I would never coach her the way that I talk to myself. So why do I talk to myself that way? So listen to your inner coach, not your inner critic. And if you would talk to your child that way, why do you talk to yourself that way?
Well, I have an opinion, idea. I also think we should listen to what other people say about us and take a compliment when due. Has any of us ever felt what you said, that, oh my God, this person just doesn't like me. I know already what they think about me. And then they shock you and they turn around and say, oh my God, you're so inspiring. You're so fantastic. I've learned so much from you. And what you thought they thought of you is they don't match whatsoever. And then you got to take that and say, wow, I retrained my brain here. I didn't really look at her like I should have looked at her.
Yeah, Teresa, what I love about that is we generally, when somebody compliments us, start to excuse and diminish their compliment. So can I teach you a script for how to respond to a compliment This is like a bona fide script. Ready? Thank you. Do we need to practice that one? That's all. You don't avoid it. You don't say, oh gosh, yeah, well, whatever, and make a joke about it. Just thank them and receive it. But here's what I also am careful about. I never really put a lot of fuel in my biggest proponents or my biggest critics. I listen, it's feedback, and how do I adjust? Because here's what I know. Having been on some really big stages, popularity goes just like that. The spotlight gets turned off just like that. Things change just like that. And if that's what I live off of, I'm really hosed when it gets turned off. Who am I when that's not on? Yeah, because here's my goal. I want the people who know me the best to respect me the most. It's cool that you guys might have liked this call or you hated this call. Either way, I'm going to receive the feedback. I really think it's cool when my daughter thinks I'm a stud. It's even more cool when my wife thinks I'm a stud because she thinks I'm a slob most of the time. But if I ever hit the ball at home, it's like, yeah, that I did something there. If I impress her, that's doing something. Yeah. So I'm very clear on who I want to impress and who I don't, who should not matter as much. Guys, setbacks are part of life too. They're just a part of life. And I could either look at the gift of the setback or I could continue to pout about the setback.
I loved what you said, Lucas, when you said, how quickly can we get back into state?
Yeah. And Teresa, that I am working on that right now. How do I put myself back into state at any given moment, no matter what just happened before me?
Are you a professional or amateur? That was great.
Yeah, that was my favorite part, was the distinction between amateurs and pros is the speed at which we get back into state when something goes wrong. I mean, I think when you look at top producers in anything, that's the difference. I think I saw an interview with Kobe Bryant the other day in a reel or something on Instagram that was something like that, that spoke to the same topic. It was pretty awesome. So love that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, and don't we hear that all the time though? Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong.
That's right.
Amateurs practice until they get it right.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So good. Lucas?
Sir.
I think you crushed that.
Okay.
You absolutely crushed that. Nuggets and nuggets and nuggets and nuggets we have here. Anybody else want to share anything to Lucas as we stay on time here? The floor, the mic is yours.
My goodness, I'm ending on time. That's kind of that's proof there is a God.
Listen, I don't want you to have to go write anything else that says you talk too much, that you need to, you're in timeout. No more, Lucas. Yeah, you did great.
Awesome.
You did great.
Yeah, 3 pages of type notes later.
Yep, same, Troy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to